Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, I'm gonna complain. I'm gonna lay it out in front of you. I'm gonna complain a little bit. We gotta be tired of these mages taking over the game at all points and just doing everything they want. So starting with the mid lane build, mages even actually in last season, season 9, had a struggle in the early game. So to combat that and to allow mages to be played in mid because hunters were played in mid a lot, they were given class passives. These class passives give them free power in the early game. So if they get about 21 power level 1, plus 25 from Sands, and then another 20 from Book, tier 1, you're getting over 60 power at level 1. Now, this usually wouldn't be that big of a problem, but this is supposed to be the mage weak point of the game. Mages now have and they've always been able to scale exceptionally well. But currently, mages have no real weak points, and it comes down to multiple things. First thing is, the start is incredible. 60 power, never run out of mana with Sands, and then as soon as you get this Book of Thoth online, you have power, you have flat pen, mana becomes non-existent, so you're just permanently able to cast abilities. Yes, maybe you're squishy, but you should be squishy. That should be one of your few downsides. And I think, one, mages should have mana issues, or if they want to have no mana issues, they need to have a weakness elsewhere. This is giving them power, flat pen, permanent mana, and it is the best option you can get across the entire game. If you can get this item stacked, there's no better option. That's a problem. On top of this, Book combos way too well with Breastplate. You get about 7 power per 100 mana. Breastplate gives you 300 mana. This item becomes 50 physical protections, 20% cooldown, 21 power, more MP5, and the mana, which makes your just mana pool bigger, giving you power from Book of Thoth, but I already included that. So it's just everything about current mages with this build is insane. And this only includes when they want to build Breastplate of Valor. They don't want to build Breastplate. Look into Spear of Deso, one-shot potential. Next up, Reaver. Okay, well now they can kill tanks. So they can one-shot squishies with these two items. This gives them a lot of tank damage. Mirrored in late game, Obshard in late game, and just with these 5 items, mages have kill potential on backliners, frontliners, and to top it all off, because of the buff to Sands, or alternate timeline, they have a defensive option through all of this. 40 protections of each, 30% cooldown, infinite mana, survivability in the form of a second life, 30% pen, and actually 50% every 10 seconds. Tank damage, like, mages builds are insanely overpowered. You compare it to, like, a pretty solid build for what it does. A Gem, Chronos Pendant, Deso, and then Reaver, Mirrodin. This is if you want these exact items. Obviously, you could go like Rod or something, but you compare it to this build, you have the same amount of cooldown. You have more mana problems with this build. You do less damage to tanks, less damage to squishies because you have less power overall and less flat pen. And the one positive you get is survivability in the form of movement speed and survivability in the form of just getting an ability up every 1 second faster through Chronos Pendant passive. And it is just night and day difference how much stronger the other build allows these mages to be. I propose, or what I would think for this is, 1, if you're going to have an item be MP5 item, it's got to be bad at something. This item fights good early, it gives MP5, it gives cooldown, it gives extra damage. This shouldn't have extra damage on it. Either that, or it needs to not be infinite mana, or it needs to not give cooldown. Any of those options is fine. Because what Conduit has is clear potential, and it has slight mana, like additional slight mana. This is extra clear potential, extra mana, and extra cooldown. Now, what is that? What is that? Why is there 3 positives happening here and only 2 positives happening here? You compare both of these to Vamp Shroud. Vamp Shroud is supposed to be the other option, which is also a little bit of mana sustain, health sustain, and that's like its 2 positives. So Sands just doesn't make sense in that vein where it just has more positives than the others. My next proposition is to Book. This item can't give everything. If you want it to be infinite mana, sure, that's fine. But this item then needs to have like the flat pen should be gone. Outright, it should not have flat pen on it. And on top of that, I think that this item needs the downside of not being the most power you can get in an item. Whether it's Warlocks or Rod or Doom Orb or something else, a different item needs to be the most power you can get for items. My last proposition for mages is Mirrodin. I think it is so overpowered in the current state of the game with Thoth, Cuckoo, Janus, that I used to think this is a pretty interesting item, but I think 20% is just too much, and the decaying doesn't really matter that much because you're still getting just like 18% when the ult hits. I think this should just be moved down to like 10% and lasting 8 seconds or something like that. I think this 20% off that first ability is just too much. It does not matter that it decays. Most of your abilities you can get off within about 4 seconds anyway, so it's going to be always above 10%. I just think it needs a pretty big nerf or a pretty big move down, and just let it be it all the time. And if there was a way to allow every mage to use the ultimate damage, like Scylla, Raw, make it just do extra damage, I think that would be really nice, but I'm a little indifferent towards that. I just think the one-shot potential that Cuckoo and Thoth and Janus provide is just too much right now. But yeah, that's my little spiel on mages. Complained a little bit, and some ideas for what they could do to fix it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.